Yeah, Shawn Michaels, what had happened was we were in a town and Cornette came up to me in the shower and said, listen, I'm closing this thing down. I can't go on with this. He said, I'm shutting Smoky Mountain down and I'm going to take you, talking to me, I'm going to take you to WWF with me. I said, okay. He said, but don't say anything about it to anybody. I said, okay. So I knew it was closing down, and this was, it wasn't for lack of biz or not drawing or anything like that. It was just becoming too difficult to maintain. And Vince wanted him up there full time. And and then Shawn Michaels, we had the big Super Bowl of Champions, whatever they call it, here in Knoxville. And Shawn had agreed to come down. I mean, he was an Intercontinental Champion. He didn't have to come down for that little show in Knoxville. You know?
Right. This is the Super Bowl of wrestling, I think.
Right, right. And so I'm forever grateful for him, to Shawn, forever grateful to him because he didn't have to do that. Yeah.
When you went up to work for Vince, what was that like? And
it was great. He treated me like $1 million. He just, I have nothing but kind things to say about him. He was just treating me like $1 million.
What were your initial impressions of the company? Because here it was,
big, first class. Yeah, they were big, first class, all the way.
Did they have any? Did you have any expectations? I mean, did they have any storylines for you? Or
I wasn't told anything at all. I mean, I was told that I was going to be given an opportunity, and Steve Austin and I started the very same day. It was December of '95. He came in as the ringmaster, and I'm a nature boy, and I flew in a day early, and that's when Shane Douglas was arguing with Vince in the dressing room about Shane's back hurting and him not wanting to work with Ahmed. I overheard it, and Bruce Pritchard walked out, and I said, listen, Bruce, if y'all need somebody to put Ahmed over, I'm your guy. I'll put him over in the middle of the ring. He said, let me go to ask Vince. And Vince came out to me and said, you don't mind doing that? I said, no, not at all.
Huh.
And so I put him over, and after I put Ahmed over, Vince walked up to me and said, listen, I appreciate that. Tomorrow night you're going to go over Bob Holly on Monday Night Raw. And so I did. And Bob Holly didn't like that at all. And so we had our match, and then the next match I wrestled Matt Hardy and beat him, and then right after that I'd hurt my back wrestling Matt Hardy, and Matt Hardy. And anyway, Jerry Briscoe came up to me and asked me if I could do a favor for Vince again. I said, yeah. He said, well, Bob Backlund's refusing to put over Bret, the world champ, and he said, will you wrestle Bret? I said, yeah, under one condition. He kind of looked at me like the audacity. What are you, I said, he's got to beat me right in the middle of the ring.
Right.
Kind of a rib, I was ribbing. I said, yeah, I'll wrestle him, but he's got to beat me in the middle of the ring. And so that was, then that night we left with Sonny and Tammy. Tammy and Tom Pritchard and Chris Candido, and that's when I'd slipped at the hotel. And
that was the ice, right?
Hurt my knee on the ice, yeah.
And that was pretty much it?
Pretty much it.
How long did they say that you were going to be out for?
Well, my knee doctor told me it was a career-ending injury, that I'd never come back.
So how long were you in the company before the actual slip happened?
For 2 nights.
That's it?
That's it.
Wow.
4 matches, yeah.
Wow. You pretty much traveled with Chris and Tammy then when you were in, or?
Yeah.
You knew them from Smoky.
When I was there, right.
Right. What are your memories of Chris Candido?
Good kid. One of the few guys I've actually had in my home to eat dinner with my family. Just a sweet kid with a big heart. Great worker. Just really sad.
Yeah, it's very depressing.
Very sad.
What are your thoughts on Tammy?
I love Tammy. Tammy was a prude back when she was in Smoky Mountain. She didn't go for drinking, no drugs, anything. Just a prude. Never didn't want to be around drinking. Couldn't drink around her. Couldn't do dope around her, or anything. And but I love Tammy. She's a great talent. Very, very resourceful.
So, what are your thoughts on Vince Russo?
Don't know Vince that well. The only thing I know about Vince is he was, when I went up there, they cut an interview with me up at the WWF, and Vince had some cue cards up there for me or something, and Jimmy Cornette had told him, said that Buddy don't need cue cards. We call him One Take Landel. And Vince said, what's that? He said, well, just turn the camera on and let him do his deal. And they turned the camera on, and I cut it like a 30-second promo, perfect, right on cue. I mean, the whole 9 yards. And Vince just kind of had his mouth open and couldn't believe it. But I mean, that's something any of the guys back in my era could have done, but they just wasn't used to it. And that's the only thing I remember about Vince.
You also wrestled Bill Goldberg, I believe, in his first match. Do you remember that match?
June of '97. It was in Dalton, Georgia.
How did that come about?
It went good. It was funny. I just met him, and Terry Taylor was booking, and Terry Taylor introduced me to him, and he told Bill Goldberg, he said, treat this guy like paper mache. I'll never forget that. I don't know why he said that, but had a decent match with him. You know, I sat and talked to him like I did Ahmed Johnson.
Right.
Just had him have confidence in me that I was there to get him over, and I wanted him to understand where I was coming through. So that's what I used to do was, because it was my job in a lot of territories to put guys over. And so if I could build your confidence up by believing in me that I was there to help get you over, then if you trusted me, if I had your trust, then the match was going to go great.
How did the match go?
It went good. Went the way that I wanted it to go.